Testing 1, 2, electric boogaloo.
So hey Serge, thanks for joining me today.
Hey Rubian, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about the Game Boy Advance, something that both of us, yeah, that's the one.
That's the one.
We have both universally agreed is our favorite handheld system, past, present, and possibly, most likely, future.
Might be near my favorite system ever, just because of how far I go back and the portability, the capability.
Yeah, if I were to put a list of top game systems, it'd be up there for me for sure. So I actually wanted to point out some interesting facts about the Game Boy Advance. It actually came out in 2001. So where were you in 2001 in your life?
Man, 2001, taking me all the way back into my early years. Maybe that's why the system reflects so well with me, is that it was such a pivotal point in my childhood. I think I'd have been 10 years old at the time. That was really the beginning of that age that we saw on the Game Boy Advance, recreating these games from NES and SNES to...
Right, there were a lot of remakes and ports on that system. And
all of them fantastic.
And it was really well known for that, and it was one of the console's strongest suits, and not in a negative way. I've heard some people say, oh, it's a port machine, but when everything getting ported to it or remade on it is fantastic.
And
oh, yeah.
I remember endless hours sitting in my room after telling my mom that I had gone to bed under my covers, leveling up my Pokemon. As you know, I'm a very large connoisseur of the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance being reborn and given a second life, if you will, as a piece of musical equipment or as a music module, really.
I'm making music with it. I've watched you do that for the last couple months, and it seems pretty cool. Another main topic I wanted to get to with this video was discussing our favorite Game Boy Advance games.
Which, it's so hard to choose 5. I mean, we originally were thinking 1, okay, 3.
Okay, what are my top favorites without a number? Here are my top 5 Game Boy Advance games.
Let's hear it.
Number 1, Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town. Number 2, Metroid Fusion. Number 3, Sword of Mana. Number 4, Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. And number 5, and this is where I cheated a little bit, the Mega Man Zero series, because there were 4 of them, but they all told one story. They were never, was one story over the course of 4 games. So what are your top 5 Game Boy Advance games?
My top 5 Game Boy Advance titles: Aria of Sorrow, Sword of Mana, Metroid Fusion, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town.
So I want to transition now into the last talking point.
Sure.
Let's put a list of the top 20, and it doesn't have to be in order. This one, I'm not ordering 1 to 20. Just the 20 I think must play, what we think, the top 20 must play games for the Game Boy Advance. I'm also going to cheat on this. I'm going to list, like, for example, the Mega Man Zero games as one series. So games like that, you could bundle together. So no particular order. What do you think is a game that is a must play on the Game Boy Advance?
WarioWare.
The Mario and Luigi games.
The Castlevania Game Boy Advance trilogy.
Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission.
Golden Sun 1 and 2.
Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town, and more Friends of Mineral Town.
Fire Emblem.
All the Final Fantasy games. Tactics, the ports of 1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Mario Advance series.
Tactics, Ogre.
Sword of Mana.
All the Mega Man games, the Zero games, the Battle Networks.
Mario Kart, Super Circuit.
The NES series of games.
Ooh. Funky. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories.
Advanced Wars.
Kirby's Amazing Mirror.
And Astro Boy.
That was the Game Boy Advance as we remember it and as we currently choose to experience it. I'm Rubian.
And I'm Serge, and also known as Wildcat.
I guess that means we now have to make a DS video someday.
Yeah, I'm thinking by the end of this year we should do that, or maybe we could do a hype box opening if it does truly become a thing for the Analogue Pocket.
Yeah, we're gonna plug the Analog. Hey, Analog, sponsor us. Send us one. We will
Analogue
open it.
Pocket. I will test out all of the music capabilities of your 3.5 out beautiful handheld system.
And I will play
I'm thrilled.
the shit out of it, and I will buy the dock, even though I believe it's being sold separately. And yeah, that will be my new.
I'll be your beta tester. Just I'm already on the email list. Look for it.
I don't want to gush about that thing, but if it lives up to everything they're saying it's going to be, no hyperbole, I probably won't need my Switch anymore. I will still have the Switch for new stuff coming out on it, but that won't be what I travel with. That won't be the Switch will permanently be attached to the TV. I don't need a Switch Lite. I need a Switch Pro that doesn't undock, because I will not need to take that with me anymore.
Because you'll have the ultimate sort of emulated handheld system. Truly, if you haven't heard of this thing, look it up. Analog
to play
Pocket.
all these amazing, great Game Boy Advance games.
They're talking everything from the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, the Game Gear, anything that ever was portable in its life that had flagship. We're excited. So
we'll plug it. Send us one. We'll play it.
We'll cut that down. But brief plug. Shout out Analog Pocket. I'm stoked.
Thank you, Analog Pocket.